just painted those rotors. On this one, I hit it with the silver first, as the directions call for. And then I came back with the titanium and tried to just get it in the center, and then just hit the center with the titanium. It gives it a little more, metallic look. There's the rotor blades and that central rotor hub. Now the blades are just dry fit in there. Even though the painting guide doesn't have it, I decided to paint those leading edges. I went out and looked. I have never seen a rotor blade without some sort of metallic leading edge. Someone built the UH-2AB, which has this same exact rotor system, and that's what they did. Like everything else, I made a jig for this out of the Lego to get it straight, glued it, and now I got it sitting up there. And while I was researching the rotor blades, I came across this model. I believe this is 1:32, but I noticed these walkways on top of the engine housing. And I realized all I really have of the number 10 helicopter are from the side. So I keep scrolling through and I come across the number 11, and then sure enough, it's coming in for a landing and it's turning to face the other way before it lands, and boom, they're definitely there. So then I go back to the sides of my helicopter, and once you see it, you kind of can't unsee it. Originally I was going to retrofit an SH2F before ClearProp released this kit. That's an SH2F. I went back to that kit, and sure enough, right there are the decals that go up on top of that engine housing. So with those, I think between the kit decals and then the ones that I ordered from Starfighter that he custom made, any other, white lettering or numbering that I need, I have these. I think I have everything I need to produce, that helicopter. The kit provides these diagrams with decal placement, basically one of them for the stencils, and then these are more squadron specific. This one is the most similar to the one that I'm building. So what I did, just to make it easier, is I blew those up on the squadron specific one, that I can then cross this out and say, okay, I'm going to use, what have you, I'm going to use this instead of this, and, write that in and get this all figured out ahead of time, and then just, work my way down. So there's the bottom complete. You can see I crossed all those off. And then the last thing I did, see the silver there. So inside there is silver. Finished up the top there, everything's crossed off. And the insignia on the top in front here is actually from an SH3 spares. The one that came with the kit I thought was too small. And then, so looking at my references here, the number 11, then, the number 10 itself, it just looked bigger and higher up there. And then all the stencils, they just nestle right down and fade right in, and that carrier film just virtually disappears. It's really nice. And then in the back there, on the wings in the back, finally got through all of those. You can see everything that's checked off there. Come up with this. Now, still haven't done the tail or those doors back there, but holy cow. I mean, that is the better part of 2 days. That's most of Saturday and most of Sunday. Yeah, that is the tiniest model of all the models in the project. This one's the tiniest and easily has the most decals. So the big E and the HC1 were from the Starfighter kit. The 0139 was actually from this kit. It was 0156. I got the 3 from the microscale and then flipped the 6 over to make a 9. All the 10s up there, down here, and on the nose, again, came from that microscale kit. Nothing can ever just be easy. That 150139, I could not find a 3 that was the same size anywhere. This kit, these 3s down here are too small. So I searched and I found this old kit. So I took the 3s out of there and I'm trying to trim them down to fit in with the 150s. And that's about the best I can come up with. I'm gonna try to push that a little straighter, but ugh, it's hideous. Doggone it. Okay, and that's about the best I can get the other side after farting around with it for about a half hour. So, all right, I hit that with some Salvacet and then went upstairs and had dinner, and not bad, you know, best I could do with what I had. So this is that side with its corresponding reference. Not bad. I'm pretty happy with the placement of everything. There's that 3 there and kind of a similar situation. So that's the other side, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way everything's coming out. I wanted to get the placement of those arrows because even among planes, so this is the number 10, but then this is the number 12, and you can see that arrow there. So even among the 3 helicopters in the group, there were some differences. I believe that's like a handle on the inside where they can grab it and push it over. And there's the same thing on the pilot's door on the other side. So you can see it's like silver at each end and black in the middle. So I have black stripe decal, silver stripe decal, and yellow stripe decal. Those decals are going to go on the inside. I've got that black stripe decal to go across there, and here's the silver stripe decal. So I'll put like one of those at each end, right? Same thing on, you know, this pilot's door, one on each end, and then that black stripe within, and you can see it's etched into the window, and then that black stripe within there. This yellow stripe decal over those handles, it's just easier than painting. All right, here's the doors. I think that handle thing came out okay. Yeah, so that one should look like that one. And then those other 2 doors, I think that came out pretty good. Again, not the greatest instructions on how you're supposed to fold that, but I think I figured it out. I've got those just sitting on there. I wanted to make sure they're gonna fit and how they fit and everything before I paint them. The windshield wipers, I shot those with the black. I put a clear coat on there yesterday and let that dry overnight. And now I just went with the chalk wash, you know, because it's fairly pristine and clean. I really just wanted to get it down on those rivet lines and panel lines, just to call those out, and then a little bit around those vents and stuff, just to give it a little more depth is all. Did the same thing here, touched it with the chalk. I finished up those windshield wipers, and I noticed on the number 11, I see it there. And then also on the number 10 right there, I had noticed in here there was a part number 20, and of course it's not in the instructions, but they actually provide a pitot tube. Like kind of built that up to the right height, a little dab of glue on the top of it, and I just touched it into the sticky tack and then just slid that up to there, and now I'll let that dry overnight before I pull that away. All right, there we go. I just touched that up with the gray, and yeah, I think that worked. Just put those doors on. Basically just took some super glue, just a dab, put it on the inside of the bottom of the doors, because that's where it had the most contact with the surface below it. And then just set it on there. I just put that tail rotor on, and I'm trying to hold that perpendicular to that shaft both ways. So again, using the Lego. Man, it just never ends. So I was wondering what some of these extra pieces were for, and again, the instructions don't talk about it, but I had a gap there at the top of that door when I turned it right side up. And sure enough, there was a piece here that had to be folded, because you can see, I think, what it's supposed to do when it's closed is then you see that line there, complete that line across, because I set it up and it was that width. But yeah, so now I'll come back. I just, you know, wanted to fold it, get it in there, and then I just touched it on this edge, you know, and let the capillary action take the super glue across. and I'm just going to leave it like that. And then I'll come back once that fully dries and touch it with the gray again. But I believe that's supposed to cap the door and slide across and then, you know, go up into there. So, you know, not the greatest instructions on this kit, but, oh, and then the tail rotor is in place now. And then, of course, I knocked that off. God, this thing, it's, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Ugh. All right, I just touched that up. So, yeah, I think that'll be okay. I'm gonna put that stupid pitot tube back on. There's the other door. After consulting all of these references, including the number 10, you can see it's kind of angled out there and then goes back. And, you know, it comes away and then out and at an angle. And so as I was looking at this, I'm like, it doesn't seem right, but now I guess it does. So that's what I did again, Lego and sticky tack. And it's supposed to be outside of that other crane. So we'll see. I am gonna let that dry until tomorrow for sure, because that is a very, very small connection point. So what I did there is first I cleaned the 2 mating surfaces and then touched it with the Tamiya ultra thin to try to melt them together, and then came back an hour later and then touched it with the ultra thin super glue and a micro brush around there to kind of try to reinforce it. So, and you can see I put that pitot tube back on. So that's the last thing. I just got to let that dry overnight and we'll see where we're at now. I know that crane piece is not very straight, but it is what it is. I just want to be done. Okay, so we'll see. We'll see that. Hopefully tomorrow that'll stay there and I can put the rotor on and we'll be done. That crane dried, and yeah, it's a little crooked, but I am not messing with it. So now I'm finally putting these rotors on, and according to this reference, and if you look on the helicopter itself, now that is taking off. I think it's a little more severe than it needs to be, but I do think that at rest it is tilted. So what I did again with the Lego is got that basically, you know, the helicopter kind of sits this way, that spine is tilted, so I just tilted it ever so slightly the other way. So now I'll just touch a little extra thin Tamiya in there and hopefully solidify that, and I'll let that sit all day. Just got back from visiting my dad like a dutiful son. So now I'm gonna take these away. And yeah, that's in there. Okay. All right, done. Before I put it on the turntable, I just want to talk about the kit a little bit. It is a very good kit. It is exquisite detail, and, you know, perfect in every way. And therein lies the rub. It forces you to be perfect, and you know, it's right at the edge of my skills. You know, it came out okay, but you can see that crane, I mean, it's so prominent and it's crooked, and I just don't have it in me anymore to deal with this anymore and break that off and try to get it straight. I typically don't like it when modelers point out all their mistakes, so I'm not going to. I think they're kind of self-evident, but yeah, just suffice it to say, you know, I thought after the C1A Trader, I thought I was all that because it had a lot of scratch building and stuff, and I, you know, kind of executed pretty well. Well, this kit came along and just kicked my ass and said, no, dude, you're not all that. You are mediocre at best, and I'm going to prove it to you. And it did. So, but, you know, that being said, I'm happy with it. I'll put it on the turntable and give you a little bit of history. In 1956, the U.S. Navy finalized its requirements for a high-speed, high-performance, long-range, all-weather, multi-purpose utility helicopter. Cayman received the contract for 12 aircraft designated HU-2K1. After lengthy trials and a number of innovations on the aircraft, the first model, designated UH-2A Seasprite, finally went into service in late 1962. Originally single-engined, the Seasprite was redesigned in 1964 with twin T58GE 8B turboshaft engines and designated UH-2C. By 1967, all single-engined SH-2ABs were converted to the twin-engine 2C. With a 4-blade main rotor and 3-blade anti-torque rotor, retractable landing gear, and a streamlined fuselage, when sealed, the Seasprite could float in calm water. The sea gray aircraft with its bright markings became a familiar sight on American aircraft carriers. With a crew of 2 carrying up to 6 passengers and equipped with a 4,000-pound capacity external cargo hook and a 600-pound capacity folding rescue hoist, the Seasprite served rescue recovery duty and ferried personnel, supplies, and equipment among the fleet. Okay, there she is sitting on the display on the shelf along with her shipmates. So that is the last 1 to 72 aircraft of the project. So next in the project, I'll be turning my attention to back to the ship. Started with the ship back in 2008, I think, and now I'm going to return to the ship. But before I do that, I am going to get to this kit for the Old Tom appreciation build before the end of the year. So that'll be next on the agenda. But I want to thank Mr. BG for hosting the Whirlybird group build, and I want to thank Greg over at MuttModeler for hosting the Armed Forces group build. This is my entry into both. So yeah, reached a milestone, kind of come full circle, and now back to the Enterprise. So I hope you'll stay tuned for that. But like I said, the next model I'll be building is that one for the Old Tom appreciation build. And then I'll get back to this project. So hope you enjoyed that. And as always, thanks for watching and happy modeling.